Hello, Estonia. Welcome to the Psycherence. A couple things to mention before we start. There's translation headsets if you'd like to hear what I'm saying and what the speakers are saying in your language. The headsets are available in the lobby. Channel 1. Another thing is you can ask questions of the speakers by logging in with your phones to www.slido.com. Code number is 5709. And questions will be selected and answered during each presentation. So, what a beautiful place. What a beautiful thing here. Absolutely extraordinary. And what are we here to talk about? Consciousness and psychedelics. So, Tead vus ya su he deli commit. What a beautiful thing to learn about in such a beautiful place. Is everyone familiar with the terms set and setting? It's kind of an idea that you have a mindset and then you have a setting, an environment. And both of these, if you have them dialed in correctly, you have the best opportunity for a positive psychedelic experience. So, if we look around, setting, check, one down. My name is Peter Wroblewski. I was invited to host the Psycherence by your friend and mine, Alar Tamming. He's over there. Matter of fact, there he is. Yeah. Sitting next to him, Luis Eduardo Luna. There he is. Stand up. Working on down the line, Jeremy Narby, ladies and gentlemen. Next to him, Dennis McKenna. And sitting one seat down, Susan Blackmore. I'd like to take a moment to thank Alar and the Estonian Transpersonal Association for putting this whole thing together. Give them a hand. It's a lot of work to put on a conference like this. It's a lot of work. And we'd like to thank the sound crew, the lighting crew, the video crew, the artists, and all the volunteers that have helped put this whole thing together. And of course, we want to thank all of you for attending. Give yourselves a hand. Now that you're done clapping, please silence your cell phones. So we have setting pretty much covered. I can feel it. So let's talk about set. Let's all take a deep breath. Everybody, breathe in through your nose And then out through your mouth. Do it again. And keep doing it. I'd like to take a second to recognize this moment, the now, this now, right now. We're all here at our own choosing, all experiencing this perfect moment together. Look around you. Look around. Look behind you and look to the right of you and look to the left of you. Look at all the other shiny, happy people who also chose to be here right now. You've all made an excellent choice. To choose to use your time to learn about psychedelics and consciousness, thumbs up. Here at the Psycherence, even better. So let's concentrate on gratitude for a moment. Adopt an attitude of gratitude for this special moment. This moment is going to last for 8 hours. Moments don't have to be instant. I want to add some gratitude for some people that came before us and shined their bright lights down the hidden path of psychedelics. I want to thank Richard Schultes for his exploration and his research. I want to thank Albert Hofmann for his experiments and his discoveries. I want to thank Maria Sabina for sharing her knowledge. I want to thank Valentina and Gordon Wasson for bringing back knowledge and then publishing it. I want to thank Walter Pankey for his amazing ideas. I want to thank Timothy Leary for his big mouth and his big presence. I want to thank Ralph Mentzner for carrying the torch. I want to thank Sasha and Ann Shelgan for their numerous discoveries and for keeping love at the center of what they do. I want to thank Carlos Castanedas for writing great books and opening up so many minds. I want to thank Terence McKenna for talking about such interesting things in such interesting ways. I want to thank Roland Griffiths for following his heart into world-changing, life-changing research. I want to thank Jerry Patchen. Look him up for doing what's right. And special to me, I want to thank Jerry Garcia for playing his music and for talking openly in the public about the psychedelic experience. Let's give thanks and praise to the Most High. So, what were we talking about? Consciousness and psychedelics. Talk about juicy topics. Alara asked me to come up here and say some words. I'm like, yeah, man. So, in my mind, you can't really have a serious discussion about consciousness and psychedelics without talking about love. Love. Armustus. Love. Is it the end result? Is it the foundation that everything is built on? It's the place you end up if you have psychedelics and consciousness. Isn't it funny that we all have consciousness, but if we all had psychedelics, we'd all be in jail? Something's wrong with this picture. At some point, that you come to the realization that this whole experience, this whole thing that we're having right now is made of love. This podium, it looks like white wooden flame. It's made of love. This microphone, full of electronics and metal and foam, love. This container, this meat, bone, blood, and meat, nope, made of love. Love again. I get strange looks from people in the straight world when I say this kind of thing. But we're not in the straight world, we're at the Psycherence. This is the place to talk like this. Kind of sadly, in most academic settings around the world, the two topics are kind of off limits, which is a real shame. Especially since many students, I see a lot of young people here, some young people right down here in the front row, look at them. They're in a place of experimentation. They're open to this type of experience, and yet we don't really have a process or a place to integrate these experiences in our culture like native cultures do. It's a real hole in our whole design. Is it fear? Because the experience can be very serious. It can shake you to the core. But that can be dealt with guidance, with good guidance, with experience, and with ritual. In my mind, the combination of psychedelics and awareness of the states of consciousness, good guidance, in a container of ritual, results in the potential for a glimpse of enlightenment. Not enlightenment per se, but a glimpse of the majesty. If you've ever felt it, if you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. Something I read about but had never experienced. You can read about it, but once you experience it, it's different. A sense of hugeness. The availability of enlightenment for everyone. Wow. That visceral sense of being in the presence of the divine. There's lots of ways to describe it. If you want to read a great book which thoroughly describes this idea, pick up a copy of Sacred Knowledge by Dr. William Richards. He has such a great way of expressing himself. He's been involved in psilocybin research and for decades. And he relates things with such clarity and beauty. And from what I understand, that book is published in Estonian by Estra. So that book is available in your language, and I would say go out and get this book because it is fantastic. Some of the critical topics he covers in the book are things you encounter when the shit kicks in. The limits of language. Perspectives, new perspectives on time and space. Unity consciousness, everybody is one being. Visions and archetypes. But he covers less desirable topics and states of mind that you're likely to encounter in the experience as well, such as meaninglessness, despair, and discomfort. In most situations, you're going to move through these types of feelings. Reflections on death and dying and your own mortality. these are topics that lunge to the forefront in the psychedelic experience. And very importantly, discipline and integration that I mentioned before. It's not all fun and games. That's where guidance, discipline, integration, and ritual really come into play. Those are important aspects of trying to have a positive experience with psychedelics. Being in the now does have its benefits. Has anyone here, you don't need to raise your hand, ever had the experience when language comes alive and turns into an interactive plaything between you and your friends? I hope you can have that experience someday. That moment when you become conscious of your consciousness and realize that it became conscious of you at the same moment. We'll hear from speakers later today that will provide good information, essentially proving this concept. Is it biological? Is it physiological? Is it philosophical? Is it spiritual? So many words, right? The limits of language. I guess that's why we're here. See if we can figure this out. Plants seem to have consciousness. The speakers later today will be talking about that. So do animals. They're all aware of their surroundings. I'm quite sure that everybody in this room has it too. Everybody in this room is conscious. Maybe when you're asleep, you're not conscious, but just because you lose consciousness, do you lose consciousness? What? One of our speakers, Susan Blackmore, wrote a book called Consciousness. If you really want to break it down, that's where to go. There's copies for sale here. But these are all different types of consciousness. And psychedelics allow us to find common ground and similarities between things instead of differences. To quote Bill Richards, and both instead of either or. It's a very psychedelic concept. You can have both. You don't need to make a choice. Is light a particle or a wave? Well, it's either a particle or a wave, or both a particle and a wave, or neither a particle nor a wave. We got options. There's another quote from Michael Pollan in his recent book: "A return to the childlike state of mind and a playful sense of wonder with no expectations." Another nice description. I become we, me is you, you become us. In the now, there's no tomorrow or yesterday, there's just the is. And here we are. In a lot of ways, we can approach this conference the same way we approach a psychedelic experience. We have the setting, and hopefully now these words have put us into a mindset as well, a willingness to suspend beliefs and let new information and experiences inform us with fresh new ideas and realizations. Our speakers today are specifically selected to do just that. We're going to dig deep into consciousness and psychedelics today with some of the West's most experienced teachers. Are they educated? Oh, yes. Are they credentialed? Oh, yes. Are they experienced? Very much so. And that third category is the clincher. Experience. I think you know the type of experience that I'm talking about. What did Jimi Hendrix say? Are you experienced? These people have a lot of experience in these realms. All four of our presenters have had experiences that are not possible. And yet they happened. When I think about our speakers here today, I recognize some valuable human traits that they all embody. Humility, openness, curiosity, mental acuity, intelligence, discernment, creativity, thoughtfulness. Psychedelics, the word psychedelic is derived from two words or two concepts in Greek. Psyche, meaning the mind, and delos, which means to make visible, somehow to make the mind visible. So these traits are already there in our speakers, but they've been amplified and magnified by the psychoactive substances and the interaction with these plants. I respect these traits. I respect the people that display these traits. And I love the people that I respect. So bottom line, I love all of our speakers today. Here we are, back at love again. Armustos. So finally, I believe that psychedelics can and will change our world. It's happening right now. How many people on the planet have had an experience with teaching plants or teaching substances or psychedelic substances? What percentage? How many people on the planet are we, how close are we to the tipping point? Are we approaching it? You know, indigenous cultures have been practicing and using teaching plants for centuries. Ayahuasca churches started in Brazil are forming in other places around the world as we speak. Large groups of young people are taking psychedelics at music festivals and raves all around the world, having this experience. We have to be approaching a tipping point where most human beings alive on the planet have had this experience. And when that happens, and it's coming, it's there, we might be there, things are going to change. Ayahuasca tourism is gaining popularity in South America, and ceremonies are happening in major cities in the US and all over the world, inside cities. Growing interest in microdosing and productivity in the Silicon Valley. Cannabis, recreationally legal in all kinds of states in the US and in Canada and different countries around the world. So things are changing right now. Change is upon us, and we're all part of it. It's going to be big. It is big. It's huge. It's just undercover. Last night at dinner, we talked about the possibility of a new hashtag movement. Hashtag it helped me. What are the possibilities if we started this instead of me too? How about we talk about the positive effect of, I didn't have a problem with these substances. These substances helped me. These have helped me be a more complete human being. I think that could be a very powerful thing. We need to come forward and let the rest of the world know that these substances can and do help. With events like the Psycherence, the covers being removed, and the beauty and potential of psychedelic experiences being revealed. Finally, let's bring it on, shall we? Let's bring it on. Our first speaker this morning, Luis Eduardo Luna, was born in the Colombian Amazon near Florencia in 1947. He went to seminary as a youth and became fascinated with literature, education, and knowledge. He left the forest to study education, to learn, and he has not stopped ever since. After being abroad for about 6 years, he returned to his hometown in 1971, went into town, and saw a gringo at a bar trying to order a drink. And what Luis did is very special. What he did is he walked up to this person, and he said 4 words. He said, "May I help you?" And Luis told me that those 4 words have completely changed his life, because Terence McKenna had just returned from the experiments in La Carrera. He was full of brand new ideas. He was in Florencia seeking ayahuasca and Yajé. And shortly after that, Terence and Luis drank ayahuasca together, drank Yajé together, the first time for both of them in 1971. This led Luis on a path of discovery to try and learn just exactly what happened in this experience. How could that have happened? Keep in mind, he was at seminary. He hadn't had a drink of alcohol. He had never tried anything except books. And this was kind of a mind-blowing experience. I never went back to seminary, he said. He joined Terence in Berkeley a couple years later, where he met Dennis. He studied abroad in Madrid, Oslo, and Stockholm, and eventually received his degree, his master's, and his PhD. He was the first person to use the term plant teachers in a paper that he wrote in 1984. He started a school of visionary art for children in the Colombian Amazon after he suggested to a local artist, Pablo Amaringo, do you have the ability to paint your ayahuasca visions? And that suggestion created an entire brand new possibility of visionary art. And Luis actually promoted visionary art across the world for years. He now splits his time between Finland and Brazil, where he and his wife, Adriana Rosa, opened their home to host small interdisciplinary seminars with prominent, recognized scientists, artists, authors, and therapists. He's a smart man. He's got these incredible people coming to this beautiful place to teach, to learn. They also maintain an ethnobotanical garden and a reforestation project near Florianopolis. I could spend the next 10 years of my life consuming every book in his incredible library, and that's kind of in my plan. I'm proud to call him my friend, one of the most humble, open, honest people you're ever likely to encounter. Ladies and gentlemen, Luis Eduardo Luna.